Hello, everybody. I have a very, very important um, information announcement to make about the plasma ball. Good stuff, and hopefully very educational. Since I started manufacturing these guys or modifying off-the-shelf plasma balls, I've learned a lot. I really have. So I made this PDF up. It's right here. It's going to be a copy on the website, and I'll attach a link to this video. And it gives you some guidelines that I think really are important to follow. And I'm going to go over this. There's a lot of information here that I'm going to be covering in this PDF. Although it's a short PDF, it's 2 pages. It's very tightly condensed with respect to information. I would like to suggest that you learn how to use the spooky presets and how to cascade or link them together. Because the plasma ball, unlike some of the devices, really cares about what the duty cycle is on the primary channel. Primary channel is the red one, the one that I'm pointing to now. It's on the left side of the plasma ball, as you can see it. I have the spooky connected, but plasma ball is so powerful that it can screw up the spooky if it gets too close. I have it out of the field of view, and it's right here. And occasionally I'll pick it up and try to show you the frequency. Please believe me, when I tell you what the frequencies and duty cycles are, I will not be making it up. But I can't keep them both in the same field of view. In the back, you'll see a meter that's pegged. I wanted to put that meter farther away, but then it became hard to see the needle. I'm going to turn the unit off, and you can see the needle collapse to the left side. And if I turn the unit back on, you can see the needle pin over to the right side. Not all frequencies will pin that needle on the meter. That is a tri-field model 100XE meter. It's in the electric field setting mode, so it's measuring electric field. Something to note about that the electric field it's designed to sense the best is the 60 cycles or 50 cycles, depending on what country you're in, coming out of your wall outlet. But it has no low pass or high pass filters on it to limit seeing electric fields at any frequency. Just doesn't see them as well as it sees them at 60 hertz. I say that because you'll see some interesting variations between frequencies, and that's because I'll hit a harmonic of 60 hertz, and you'll see the meter peg, and then I won't be on 60 hertz a harmonic, and you'll see it read slightly lower. But regardless, it'll give you a good impression of how powerful and dynamic this plasma ball is. Okay, let's go into a little bit of background on the plasma ball with respect to what does the manufacturer do when they send it out the door to be resold at places like Walmart. This plasma ball is running at roughly 29 kilohertz, and it's running off the internal oscillator that's inside this unit right now. And I'm going to turn off the light just to give a little bit better visual of the plasma ball, and you can still see the meter in the background. So when I control it with, or when the plasma ball is controlled with the spooky, which right now it's not running off the spooky, but I'm going to show you what the spooky shows. Spooky should show you, if I can stop for a second, it's not too clear. It's 29 kilohertz with on channel 1 with an amplitude of 6 volts and a duty cycle of 20%. There we go. And that is the big change that I want you people to acknowledge, is to try to keep the plasma ball below 20%. You can go higher. There is a thermal switch in there that helps protect the driving transistor. but 20% actually seems to give a better signal than 30. And if you go too high, then you'll start cooking the transistor and the thermal switch will keep kicking in. And that'll be a real pain. So you don't want to do that if you don't have to. Wait for that thermal switch to reset all the time, because it can take a minute or so. It gets that warm. All right, getting back on track here. So the plasma ball, when it's under spooky control, and in this case, I have to actually put it under spooky control and flip the switch, you probably didn't notice any difference between the internal oscillator, that's the internal oscillator, and the external oscillator, being coming from the spooky. Spooky is acting like an external oscillator. And they're both set for 29 kilohertz. Approximate 29, absolutely 29. When I point off the screen, I'm pointing to the spooky. Absolutely 29 kilohertz. The voltage for this channel right here, the amplitude voltage, only has to be better than 3 or 4 volts. It can handle all the way up to 8 volts without any problem. I'd sort of just pick a middle number of 5 or 6 volts. And you can leave the default setting, I think a lot of times in a lot of the programs, is 5 volts. Some of them are 10. I wouldn't leave it at 10. It's not going to hurt, I don't think. My choice is 5 or 6 volts right here. And it says that in some place on some of the documents that I've published already about the spooky. The frequency range for this ball running the primary channel that's really usable is roughly 500 hertz to 50,000 hertz or 50 kilohertz. Yeah, it can run lower, but it doesn't run as well as a primary single channel just running this off the spooky between 500 and 50K. As well as it would run if you gated a health frequency and gated it at, let's say, Shillman's Resonance 7.83 or 532, another health frequency, 528, the Solfeggio DNA repair frequency, and a half a dozen others. And I'm going to go over that in a little more detail. On this chart, there is a chart here on this PDF. I sort of give you the optimum. 500 to 5,000, 5% duty cycle will work fine here on the spooky. Whenever I point out off the screen, I'm pointing at the spooky. 5% duty cycle, that's amazing, and it gives you a good signal, and I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. And on this chart here, I show from 5,000 to 15,000 hertz. I suggest a duty cycle of 10%. From 15,000 to 20,000 hertz, I suggest a duty cycle of 15%. And from 20,000 to 50, I suggest a duty cycle of 20%. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, and whatever memory tool helps you out there. Now I can see that already if you do a protocol that's jumping all over the place, you have no way of changing the duty cycle in a software-defined protocol using the spooky, because it does not allow you to have different duty cycles within the same protocol. It's a flaw, and I do not know whether the spooky General X, the new one, Generation X, will actually address that problem or not. I don't have one of those units, and it might. But you can get around that because John White did some good software changes by making these presets that can be linked to one another or cascaded. So you can take and split up a protocol and have it have one particular duty cycle in the frequency range that you're interested in, whether it's one frequency or several frequencies within the range that can be accommodated in one shot or one run. And then when you have to change the duty cycle here, you can write another protocol to cover those frequencies with a different duty cycle and make that a preset. And then you can link your presets together and it can be completely automated. That's why I have suggested several times in this video and others, learn how to use presets. And those people who have already good experience with the presets and so forth, it would really be nice if you publish some of your files. There are quite a few users now that have this very spooky, not spooky, this very plasma ball, modified either by myself or they modified it themselves. And sharing your knowledge could be very, very helpful. I reference the Spooky Forum quite a bit, and everybody can go to the Spooky Forum to get information. And if you have information on how to run this plasma ball with a Spooky, presets and so forth, it would be very nice if you would publish those. Okay, I told you I would demonstrate a few things, and I'm going to. I'm going to demonstrate changing the frequency just as defined here in this PDF. So I'm going to go over to and dial in 5,000. Okay, I just dialed in a frequency of 5,000, and I'm still running off of 20% duty cycle. I'm going to decrease that duty cycle down to 5%. I'm at 20. Oops, decreased it too much. I'm at 20, 15, 10, and 5. So you can see it runs at 5. I'm getting plasma streams coming out. Those are called Birkeland currents. I'm going up to 10%, and they're a little bit better, up to 15%, and now they're a lot better, and 20%. There's not a lot of difference between 20 and 15. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to, and I should do this part of the video at night, but I didn't. I'm going to go down to 5 kilohertz. I'm going to go back to 5 on the duty cycle. I'm not going to go to 5 kilohertz. I'm going to go to 500. Back to frequency. And I'm at 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. Now, I can see the plasma, but you might not be able to. I'm going to shut it off. You might see a tint. So I'm going to hit the off switch, and I'm going to turn it back on. Yes, you can definitely see the tint change. That's the plasma, and it's light, so it's a little hard to see. I'm turning it on and off so you can see that the plasma is actually coming back on and off at 1,000 with a 5% duty cycle. I'm going to turn it back on, and I'm going to change the duty cycle to see if it gets any better or worse with a higher or lower duty cycle. So I'm going down to the duty cycle. I'm at the duty cycle, and I just changed it to 10, and it did actually get a little bit stronger. So maybe 10. Going to 15. No difference between 15 and 10 that I can see. And actually got up to 20. Not good at all. It actually starts to go away. So when you get at the lower frequencies, a lower duty cycle works. And I state that very clearly in here. And because I can barely see it at 1,000 hertz, I'll go down to 500 to see if I can still see it and show it to you on the ball. I just went off 500. And I can still see it. I'm going to turn it on and off. So you might be able to see the glow in the background. Okay, it's off. It's on. It's just barely. It's so weak. It would be very visible if it was dark. It's on, off, on, off. I can barely see it in the camera, but maybe you can see it better than I. So I just demonstrated that my suggested list here will work, and you're allowed to change it. We actually discovered that it seemed for the very coarse frequencies that I used in this example, 5% higher worked a little bit better, except when I was down in the very low frequency of 500. 5% worked the best. All right. I'm going to show people, everybody wants to do Schumann's resonance. Schumann's resonance is a real popular frequency. First thing I'm going to do is put this ball back on its internal oscillator so we can see that it's running just fine. And we're going to go down to Schumann's resonance on the Spooky. It's not running off the Spooky yet, but I'm going to dial in Schumann's resonance. But I'm not going to dial it in on the primary frequency. I'm going to dial for the primary frequency, I'm going to put a health frequency in there. And the health frequency I'm going to put in is going to be, did I write it down here? Yes, I did. It's going to be 30,240 hertz. That happens to be the 140th harmonic for the health frequency of 432. It's a 140th harmonic, the fundamental of 432. In fact, I think I'll put 432 in first. The fundamental frequency for 432 is 216 hertz. That's in the PDF. You'll be able to do that yourself. But we're going to run the gating, and it's going to look almost identical depending on the duty cycle I put on the second channel. So here we go. We're going to put in 4, and then I'll do Schumann resonance next after this. 432. So I have 432 now as a frequency, and I left it at I got it at 10%. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to turn. Oh, I got one more thing. I got to go to channel 2, and I got to set up this the 432 as my gating frequency. So I'm switching to channel 2, and I dial in 432, 3, 432. Okay, I got that done, and it's at a 50%, and voila. Okay, I'm going to turn I'm going to turn the gating on, and I'm going to turn the frequency on, and it's not working. And what did I do wrong? Oh, I know exactly what I did wrong. I didn't dial in the proper frequency up top. Yeah, just a minute. See, we all make mistakes. No one's perfect. I already knew that a long time ago. The frequency I want in there is 30240. Okay, 240, that would be a 4, 2, almost done, 3, okay. Now, I'll flip them. And there you go. That is the 432, which is a health frequency. It's also, I believe it's A, what all in the old days, before the Nazi frequency took over, a 440. Instrument and bands used to tune to this frequency. It's got a big reputation for being a health frequency, but it looks like the plasma ball is firing normally. What it's actually doing, it's firing a health frequency of 240, and it's being pulsed on and off at the rate of 432. I'm going to change that to Schumann's resonance down on channel 2 going into the gating. And so we're going to go to channel 2 and make that a 0. Make that a 0. And you can already see I'm at 2. I'm going to go up to 7.83. 8.883. Come on, get there. And we're there. So now you can see the unit gating, and it's in sync with it's finding sync with my camera. To me, it's just flashing continuously. Looking at the camera looks like it's flashing and slowing down, flashing. That's a function of the syncing of the camera. And 7.83 being there's some harmonic closeness, we'll call it there, but it is just flashing continuously. For me, it's not phasing in and out. Okay, well, I hope you believe that. And I'll show you the spooky. I said I'd show you occasionally, and hopefully it'll focus. And if I can stay still long enough, there you go. 783 on the bottom and 3240 on the top. Okay, and you can look at the other readings. You can pause this and get a better look. I'm going to put this down. So that's how you gate low frequencies, or that's how you run low frequencies. You run a health frequency, and then you turn around and gate it at the frequency of interest, in this case 7.83, Schumann's resonance, or any other frequency. And you'll get a lot of effect here. And it's still pegging, well, we haven't even talked about the meter in the background. It's still pegging it, If I turn it off, there it's off, the meter goes down, turn it back on, and the meter goes pegged again. And I could have that meter probably, right now it's roughly 3 feet away. I could have it 4 feet away, 5 feet away. And it still might peg depending upon the frequency. Something else to show you, if I want that energy all to come into me and nothing to get to the meter, watch when I put my hand close to the plasma ball. See how the meter's stepping? I'm going to put my hand right on the plasma ball. I'm sucking all that energy now. It's coming just to me. And that meter went to 0. Get my hand out of the way, and you can see the meter go up. So all that energy is coming right into me now. Nothing's, well, a little bit might be making to the meter, but not much. Not much to make it register anyway. One other thing I want to show you before I close this video down, and that is that I can leave the gating set to 7.83 coming out of Spooky Channel 2, going into Channel 2 here, and I could run the default frequency. That's the default frequency inside the unit. I just switched the switch down to run the default frequency, and we have the same deal. I'm pegging the meter. I can steal all that energy and grab it for myself. Nothing's getting to the meter now. So you can use just a single channel function generator and pump it into the gating and use the default frequency of the plasma ball as it came from the manufacturer to send out an electric field related to the health frequency you're going after. Wow. This is documented. A little bit more information in this document. And I hope this video finally clears up how to run Schulman's resonance, the lower frequencies. I hope the guidelines for duty cycle communicate. And I guess you can always send me an email. I am busy, but I'll do my best to get back to any inquiries. Okay, thank you very much, and everybody have a nice day.